I was in Latin America on numerous occasions, this would only happen. I would notice this would only happen whenever I would hang out with my white male friends, white men, right? They're my friends. I've hung out with white men in Bolivia, Paraguay, Brazil, Colombia, not so much Peru, but those countries I just named, I've hung out with white guys more than I have anywhere else in the world, and enough time for me to pick up on little things that I noticed were a little different whenever I'd hang around them. For example, I was in Paraguay. Paraguay is in Latin America. If you guys don't know, Google it. I was in Paraguay and I was hanging out with one of my white friends. We walk up to two chicks. I speak first. They're looking at him as I'm talking to them. They don't hear me talking. They hear me talking, but they're not acknowledging me talking. So imagine this camera is, I'm looking at you. You're the white guy, but there's a guy over here talking and this guy is just looking because I'm speaking. Yeah. So they're looking at this guy while the guy, Austin, is over here talking. So I just was like, oh, well, maybe the first time that happened, I'm like, oh, maybe they just were both interested in him and not me. Maybe that's what it was. Then it happened again. Then it happened again. And I started to notice, holy shit. Whenever I hang out with the white guy, they cannot hear me talking to them. What the fuck? So, that's fine. You know, I just recognize it and I get the hell away from you. Not the white guy. I'm talking about the women, because I'm not here to try to convince you to think otherwise. But it's just something okay, let me jot that down in my notes, because this is a social experiment as a 25 or a black American man in his 20s. What is it like worldwide for him to be perceived around the world? And that was one thing I noticed in Latin America. When I got to Sao Paulo, Brazil, certain cities is not as bad as others. Certain cities is not as bad as others, but a lot of cities is bullshit. So whenever I got to Sao Paulo, Brazil, there were some white men and an Asian man I was hanging out with. We all go to a restaurant. Of course, Asians, generally speaking, the typical Asian you see has damn near white skin. They're not technically white. I don't call them yellow, but I guess some people would call them yellow. I don't say that. But we were all sitting at dinner. Let's just be specific about this. We were all sitting at dinner, right? And they walk up and they speak. They look at everybody with a smile. Oh, yeah, hell, welcome into the restaurant. Look at me with a straight face. I'm like, okay. I noticed that. Didn't think too much of it at first. Order with a smile, order with a smile. Look at the black guy, straight face. Keep in mind, this is not even a white person doing this. This is a black Brazilian doing this. See, there's certain shit you just can't deny, right? You can't deny everybody being looked at with a smile, and then when they look at me, somehow the smile just magically stops. I guess when they go from this way to that way, their face muscles just got tired by the time they reach me. We're just gonna go with that bullshit. For some people that like to deny everything that exists. I'm not like a race victim either. I'm just here to tell you guys what to expect. And I'm not the first person to say this. This stuff has been in history books about this type of stuff, but we're not going to get that deep into it today. But if you guys know what I'm talking about. They take everybody's order. Everybody's drinks come out except for mine. So I'm just sitting back for 15 minutes waiting, because I know I saw them write my drink down, because when she asked me with her straight face, she wrote the drink down, but then it didn't come out. But somehow everybody else's drink came out, but the guy that you did not have, that you drew a straight face for, it just correlates too well. That happens. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't have your drink. I forgot. Bullshit. I saw you write it down. But okay, at least she made the drink strong, so I forgot about it. I forgot about it in a moment. Drink was too good. One thing I noticed, for example, let's say if you want to cold approach a woman in certain countries. I've been out with my white friends and I've done it by myself. When I'm by myself, you get rejected sometimes not. Normal stuff. Just fine. When I'm with my white friends, I get rejected at a way higher rate, as if the wrong one out of the pair approached him, correct? You guys know if you approach somebody that, let's say they're walking very fast down the street, like, hey, I have a question for you. Hold on one second. Or, excuse me, I want to talk to you. Or, excuse me, I have a, whatever you say to stop them, right? I can't even think because I don't even really like to stop people that's doing that. If I do it, it's just a, get the hell out of my face, right? No patience. White guy does it, the subservient side comes out a bit. And this is whether if they're white, whether if they're a fucking Afro-Latino or straight out of the jungle. I don't give a damn which one of the three they are. Or mestizo, whatever. But the level of patience is completely different for black men than it is white men. Now, what am I saying? This does not mean, because I know you idiots in the comments love to say this shit. This does not mean that you can't get women in Latin America. I would love for you guys to highlight where I said that. Not saying that. Because if I've been in Latin America since November and now it's July, if I would be here, 10 months? I wish I would stay on a continent 10 months where I couldn't get a play from women. So that's not what that means. It's just, what I'm saying is the more of the population is reserved for a certain group. That does not mean that there aren't women in that population that don't like you. Just don't expect them to like you as much. Just don't expect to be in first place. A lot of dudes are selling you guys a dream saying that we're loved everywhere. We're loved everywhere. Let me tell you motherfuckers something. If Austin Holloman is not getting love, the majority of y'all aren't going to get love. And I'm not saying I'm not. I'm just saying in a specific scenario, if they didn't love me, they don't love you. I don't give a fuck how nice your fedora hat is. I don't give a damn how good your Spanish or your Portuguese is. It's just not going to always be in your favor. So I wish dudes would quit selling unrealistic expectations that everything is just peaches and cream. There's a trade-off. Just like anything else in life, there's a trade-off, right? You go to Africa, from what I've seen, the odds were usually in my favor, but then you got a lot of poverty and, scams, and there's stuff that comes with trying to date in Africa. You come to Latin America, probably not as much poverty, but then you got this shit. You got motherfuckers that don't even want to even try to consider just because of race. And for me to talk about this much, I can't be making it up. You can be in denial. If you're paying for sex, just don't even skip this video because this doesn't even apply to you. Now, recently, here in Manaus, right? Me and my two white friends and I, let me speak proper English, my two white friends and I, two men, we all went to the beach. There was a private beach that I was invited to, correct? And there was only two girls coming. So my friend Casey says, hey, Austin, y'all are going to need to pick whichever one. So whenever they arrive, we all introduced ourselves. I could already tell right off the back she wasn't feeling me, right? Because the way how it felt very friendly. Like it wasn't very interesting. It was very friendly. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm mistaken. I'll try again later. So we end up sitting next to each other on the boat. So I started a little small talk like, hey, what's your name? She told me her name. Didn't ask what my name was. Usually I would just stop right there. But I'm like, okay, I'm doing research. Let me get some more research to tell my audience what would happen. This is also a chick with black features. I'm not saying she was black, but she had black features, right? And I already told you guys about that. So are you from Manaus? Yes. Doesn't sound interesting. So I said, so how old are you? She told me her age. Okay, so I stopped it. I know where you're from. I know what your name is. I know your age. You don't know anything about me. Clearly, you're not interested in talking. Now, I know some of you motherfuckers in the comments are going to try to say, well, Austin, you should have asked her what her birth certificate number was. You ain't got no game. Yeah, you can waste your time. The way how I look at life is I don't know if I'll be here tomorrow, so I don't waste time with people that don't want to spend time with me. That fucking simple. So anyway, we get to the beach and she kept it short with me, but whenever we got to our table, the white guy was there, my friend, and she says, so is this your first time in now? So I'm like, oh, that's what a chick sounds like when she's interested. Okay, so she must be interested in him. Okay, so I was like, okay, not gonna cock block, let me move away, smoke my cigar. Shit happens, right? And I've been all around, I've dated women all around the world. I'm not gonna go to sleep thinking about it. But I put up a tweet, and this is just a story I want to bring in there. So I talked to Casey. We were just talking about something else, and he was like, yeah, so you remember the girl that was on the boat? I asked her friend, because Casey was dating her friend. He said he asked her friend, does your friend like black guys? And she said instantly, she's not going to talk to your friend. She hadn't seen what I look like or nothing. So there was nothing from the jump. I was fucked from the jump just based off of race. She didn't need to see what I looked like. And this is a chick with black features. If you took her to the United States, they would say she was a mulatto. She clearly has black features. Now, I know for some reason a lot of my audience think if she doesn't have nappy hair and skin as dark as a fucking asteroid, she's not black. But I have enough common sense to know that there's certain features that are dominant in black genes. So I'm a black person, and I have the ability apparently that a lot of other blacks don't have, which is to identify people who have black genes in them. Okay? So scenarios like that are more common than you think. Now, I think we've got our point with that. What can be done about that? What can be done about that? I'm going to tell you what my answer is. I don't give a fuck. I'm not trying to change history. I'm not trying to change any ignorance. If you're ignorant enough to not, like, for example, right? Like, I don't like Asian chicks. If I was in her scenario and somebody was trying to hook me up with one of their friends, I don't prefer Asian chicks, right? But the Asian chick is not so much of not being my preference to the point where I don't even need to see. Well, let me see, because maybe there are some attractive enough Asian chicks to where it's, maybe so. But the fact that she said she didn't even need to see what I looked like is what the hell I'm trying to tell you guys. It doesn't matter. Not in every scenario, obviously. I already told you guys. But it is not uncommon for you to be damned if you do, damned if you don't. So what you could do is, if you come to Latin America, because I know y'all still gonna come, figure out who wants you and stop chasing the ones that don't want you. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I love you guys. We're still working on the course.